Her expression's indiscernible, but she's still looking at me. This town breaks people. I know what you mean. I've kind of always had this feeling that there's something about this town that sucks all the hope out of people. And, I mean, you can point to the environment, the drugs, the history, or even just, like, the sheer desolation of it all. But whatever it is, it all adds up to churning out crazy old people and messed up kids.
Are you saying we got lucky, or are just as sorry as the rest?
Not as bad, that's for sure. And I do think I kind of have to thank you for that, in some part. My voice cracks, and I try to cover it with a cough. Smooth.
Thank you, Chase.
Jenna smiles lightly.
And I agree. It's why after this week, I'm never coming back here. In fact, as soon as we find Carl, I'd prefer to leave.
I nod. That's fair. I guess I have to ask, what made you think of this? I mean, the story about your grandmother. Was it just talking about tech stuff in the reservation? Jenna ponders the question for a moment, looking a bit more like her usual self. However, there's still a slight, unnerved tinge to her, like her tail has an extra bit of bristle to it.
I suppose that's what got me talking about her, though I started thinking about this all earlier.
Oh? Up ahead, the screen door to the side of Duke's house flings open. A familiar ash-colored figure peers out, attention focused on us.
What are you two doing?
Do-do-do. Blah-ba-ba-da-doo. Are we set to... Oh, config. Yeah, skip scene messages. Okay. Do-do-do-do. So we're going for the other ending, and it was actually the choice that I remembered was the one that comes down to whether we chose that one, like we kept each other sane was what we picked last time.
I knew one of them was camaraderie and the other one was like individual, like fuck this cynicalness. But I saw you now and it all just seems so silly, doesn't it?
Jenna doesn't even seem to react to Heather at first. She shuts off the screen on her phone and exhales, looking Heather in the eye. She doesn't speak immediately, and there's this sort of latent tension in the air.
Silly isn't exactly the word I'd use.
A dark look crosses Jenna's face, her tail stiff behind her.
Your behavior throughout high school was utterly abhorrent towards me, and I think you know that.
Heather's face drops, the cat clutching her arm, so Jenna's not playing nice this time.
Yeah, she's not being cutesy this time.
No.
I told you my memory is bad, Jazz.
She puts on a kind of babyish voice as she says this, looking sheepishly at Jenna.
Do you honestly need a reminder?
Heather begins shaking her head, but Jenna's already speaking, her tone curt.
You were rude to me, even when I did nothing to you. But I figured you were just insecure and left it at that. Then one night you come to me with no one else to turn to, tears in your eyes. You let me know everything that was going on with you at home. From that point forward, I was ready to defend you, to help you in any way I could, short of going to police, of course, because you begged me not to. So I knew that stuff with her dad was fucked up, like, instantly.
Yeah.
Ugh, gross.
There was very bad signs back then.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Bad. Princess, pink, no, bad.
Nope.
Sparkles in the carpet, no. It started out as little things, the favors. You were too emotionally distressed to do your homework, so I should do it. You couldn't come to class because of a panic attack, and the teacher wouldn't understand, so I should lie for you. You needed money to see a friend of Peyton, so I should give you the money. This went on for some time until eventually enough was enough. I had my own problems, especially at home, and I just couldn't juggle the well-being of everyone. That is not my responsibility. I told you up front that I was going through a tough time and couldn't do those favors anymore, but I was always available to talk. That wasn't good enough, was it? Despite being busy with your fractured home life and the stresses of school, you still found time to create your elaborate revenge on the one person who cared enough to help. Next thing I know, your latest boyfriend of the week and his friends are pounding on my front door at 10 p.m. And what does he tell Mom and Dad when they open the door?
She deepens her voice, putting on a dude bro accent.
I can definitely do that. Yo, I'm looking for Jasmine. She told us to meet out here to get some. So not only did they convince my idiotic parents that I was fucking 5 guys, including your boyfriend, you told the whole school. I had my paw smashed in a locker, was fired from my part-time job, and lost almost all my friends outside of a select few great people.
Jenna looks over, gesturing to both Flynn and my direction.
You made yourself the sufferer in that narrative, the one who had mistakenly trusted the weird, horny anime girl. I always trust the weird, horny anime girl. Life lesson, trust the weird, horny anime girl. They're the best.
Jenna takes in a sharp breath from her nostrils, her composure otherwise completely solid.
And you don't even have the dignity to atone for your actions with a chance of standing right in front of you. You continue to lie and manipulate your way through every social interaction to make yourself feel better. It's the perpetuation of this endless cycle of perceiving yourself as a sort of eternal victim, when in reality it's complete delusion that hurts you and everyone around you.
With the way Jenna rattles off point after point regarding Heather's transgressions, it's evident this is something she's thought about greatly. Maybe even rehearsed. Heather stands there with this wide-eyed, slack-jawed look on her face. I can practically feel the burning of Heather's cheeks, the shock of Jenna's words settling in, and her eyes begin to moisten with tears.
And by the way, it's Jenna now, not Jasmine. No.
Heather moans lowly. It's like she's trying to refute what Jenna said, but she can't form the words. All she can do is make this bizarre whining noise.
You're wrong. You always have to be right, but you're really, really wrong.
Her paws curl into fists as she shakes, indignified. Flynn and I look at each other. Before she can say anything further, she storms off. In the distance, we can see her start running, her arms flailing with a pulsing like limpness to her sides. Chase, why is that your thought process?
Oh my gosh, I don't mean to laugh at that. But
why is that your internal monologue?
That's not great, Chase.
I can't help but feel a sort of queasy sensation at the sight. This is what this place does to people. Jenna, meanwhile, lets out a long sigh. Wow. World's worst fucking psychiatrist, Jesus H. You feel better now? Jenna looks at Flynn.
Perhaps. It was cathartic.
I didn't know about most of that. I just thought she was mean to you or something, like standard high school girl stuff. Yeah. Must be nice getting the chance to do that, huh? There's some bitterness to Flynn's words. Probably ain't gonna help us find Carl, though.
It needed to be said.
Flynn grunts, shaking his head in disbelief. Right fucking now, though? God damn. Down the hill a ways, the dusty shape of 2 figures can be seen emerging from an old shed. One of them pauses as he sees Heather sprinting off down the road, while the other ignores her and carries on. Eventually, though, both of them see us and begin making their way in our direction. Welp, here comes the gang. He spits on the ground, the faint smell of his venom wafting in the breeze for a moment.
I just realized, how does Flynn make out with people?
I don't know if he can.
He might not be able to. How sad.
No. I'm guessing he bit that cap too hard. Trying to be so cool, Flynn. Nope, can't skip yet.
Not all of them.
I quietly shimmy my way over to Jenna's side, lowering my voice some. Are you okay? Jenna seems slightly surprised at the question, giving me a light smile.
I'm good, Chase. Thank you for the concern.
After what just happened, I'm not sure how much I buy that, but I'm not going to press the issue. So what? Did you come back with your posse to intimidate us or whatever? Jeremy's dull eyes are focused on me. I'm starting to feel increasingly intrusive, standing next to their bonfire with their beer.
Look at Keith. Oh, Keith.
You died horribly.
You died.
And you have like a cultist looking shirt.
Oh, this might be...
We were just leaving. I'm getting my gun. I'm gonna get it.
I'm gonna get it.
I'm gonna get my gun.
I'm not a victim, Jasmine. You bitch.
I quickly get out of my seat and fast walk to catch... So there's a different reaction here. Yeah. So when Heather comes back, she has a different reaction. Because she was like kind of on our side
She was all
last time.
friends with us when she left.
She was like, Clint, no.
Yeah, she's like, oh no, it's fine.
Oh no, this is the horrible scene.
Oh yeah, skip.
Oh, the sound.
Oh,
The
you
sound
heard the
played.
snapping.
Leo just blew our one chance of figuring out where Carl is through your method.
You sure fucking did. Now what's your point?
Those two, or at least Clint, probably knows what happened after the phone call you mentioned last night. A sick, twisted feeling starts to settle in my stomach, Micah looking at me with a dumbfounded expression. This may be our last chance at, you know, finding where Carl is?
Through torture? Fuck me, Schizo. Don't be a bitch and get out there.
He shoves my shoulder, but I manage to keep myself from toppling over, steadying myself on a mildewy countertop.
Ew.
Steadying.
Mildewy.
It would be steadying, right?
I think it'd be... Well, steadying might be a word. It's just not one that I would use steadying, but...
Yeah. Don't touch me.
I'll touch you all I goddamn want. My life here is over thanks to you.
Yeah? What a life it was. Dealing drugs, trying to rob my friend, and then covering up a kidnapping.
You don't know how fucking good you have it, you musky-ass bitch. And I don't know where Carl is, so don't pin that shit on me yet.
The bat glances at the window, then does a quick double take.
Wait, where'd he go?
Bzzz. Fight. So Chase is also different here, because he's the one, because he said that. Because he said the cynical option, so he's also like
I see.
more of a dick about the situation.
Ah!
Say nothing.
Why did they make us watch it again?
So this is in the files, because you can't animate in RenP. So in the files, that's just like 50 pictures that play in sequence.
Oh my gosh.
They had to do it all like a flip book. Leo's lips move again, and this time I can hear it clearly. I love you. Love you too. He speaks in my voice this time, crystal clear with no distortion. The affection slightly perturbed, and I realize it's how I sounded when I responded to Leo earlier. KO. That sound effect played way too long the first time. We know this isn't new dialogue because it wasn't even new in this route. Wow, a lot happened here. Everybody's having a bad time. All of the sneaky little tricks they do with changing the brightness of the screen gradually is way more apparent when you're fast forwarding through it. And you just see like just rapidly flickering and stuff.
I like how they stop at this option, but like you don't actually have a different choice.
Yeah, but it's coded to do that at choices.
Chase, we've almost died tonight, and we are still in a very unpredictable and dangerous situation.
She crouches down beside me.
With mental states that can be charitably described as less than optimal. Carl's in serious trouble, and we know where he is. This right here.
She taps the ID card in my paw.
We can make a little note of it in our heads and bring it to the proper authorities later.
She barely glances at the license, standing back up and offering me hand.
Come on, Chase.
With a knot in my stomach, I take her hand and use her weight to rise up without putting too much strain on my injured leg. But I think this guy's in my head?
Please don't say that.
She responds curtly as Micah arrives behind her, Leo hobbling at his side.
So she's not as supportive this time.
You okay, Otter? I look at him for a moment and answer honestly. I don't know. Bzzz.
Jenna can talk sense into anybody.
Jeremy's her brother. And Clint is Jeremy's best friend. And, presumably, Heather listens to both of them.
Yeah, but we just end up seeing Heather, which really kind of like ruins this strat.
She's not really been involved in any of the drama so far, so I trust her to get this taken care.
Because I picked Micah the first time because I was like, oh, those other guys, like Micah will be able to like level with them, and also Heather too. But after seeing that it's just Heather, that whole like girl powwow, like, I mean, but obviously we already fucked up because she fucking hates us now, so it's not gonna be the same at all. In my original thought, it was gonna be like, oh, she was gonna be nice to her the first time, and then be nice to her the second time when she's like, I know that you have problems, like, blah 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 blah, and talk her down.
I know this is gonna play out completely differently.
It's gonna play out completely differently than that.
I look down at Jenna, whom I am currently leaning against. The mouse is in the middle of the screen. Seamless transition to having us having just left to eat dinner for 20 minutes is that they come back to the mouse teleporting to the middle of the screen. I was literally saying how seamless
immersion is ruined.
I just said how seamless it was going to be and no one was going to notice. Then I realized that the mouse is just there. She can put her degree to work.
Oh god, don't put it like that. For the last time, I don't study any of that interpersonal communication business that shrinks handle.
As you can tell from all of my behavior.
I know. I wouldn't have guessed that at all.
Can't you tell how good I am with people?
I lean more towards neuroscience anyway. Excuse me.
Have you seen that fucking viral video of like someone, a psychiatrist on TikTok that's like explaining how to end a friendship?
I mean, no, but isn't it just like, I don't want to be friends with you anymore?
It's like, I have enjoyed our season of friendship and so on.
Our season of friendship.
Oh my fucking god.
There's a whole episode of Seinfeld where Seinfeld has a friend who he doesn't want to hang out with, and he doesn't know how to break it to him, so Kramer tells him that he has to break up with him like a girlfriend, and so he does, and so the whole like them breaking up is like, I can change, and they have this whole back and forth that like it seems romantic because he just doesn't want to be friends with it anymore, but he doesn't know how to tell him, like, I just don't want to be friends with you anymore.
Yeah.
I just don't think we're compatible, you know? It's not you, it's me.
This is just a special kind of... It's just... I'm reminded of just how bad Jenna is with people in some cases, and then just all I can think about is this nightmare. Let's see.
Apologist, like giving advice on how to break up
This
with
is...
your friend.
Shut up, little Joel.
And,
Oh, Joel! I have a crush on Big Joel.
I've noticed you've been withdrawn and haven't wanted to hang out recently. What's going on? I've treasured our season of friendship, but we're moving in different directions in life. I don't have the capacity to invest in our friendship any longer. Is it something I did? This feels really sudden. I get that it might be hard to understand, but I've been reevaluating many areas of my life recently, including my ability to be a good friend to you. I just want to be honest and upfront, so I don't disappoint your expectations. I'm sorry if this feels painful and confusing. I wish you all love and success.
So obviously this is a good
Dude, the way she's talking to that other person makes it feel like they've never been friends.
No.
Because she's talking to her in such a clinical way that like, there's no way.
It's 110% just like an alien person, but with just like that insane level of like self-assuredness you'd potentially get from professionally being the person that's supposed to confidently have a read on people and be able to say how people should interact and how relationships should work. It's like,
dude, I do really think about therapists and stuff and about how they must feel awkward in their normal social interactions, because if you apply like a clinical eye to your own relationships, it feels unnatural. But at the same time, like, to not do so would seem foolish because you've been given like the abilities and the tools to like know how to react to those situations. So it's like if you're not good at social situations as like a person who's like a therapist, people will be like, what's wrong with you? You're a therapist, you should know better. And honestly, they might even just overthink like your interactions with them because they know that you have a background in this sort of thing. But at the same time, like, you don't want to have to apply that. You don't want to like your work to leach into your day-to-day. You want to be able to act naturally in front of the people you care about and love. So you might fuck up in your own relationships.
She also just kind of though reminds me of this like a series of frustrating interactions I've had with a variety of people who declare themselves to be empaths or otherwise talk about how good of a read they have on people or that people like them and so on and so forth, while I am in the middle of actively disliking them and then being oblivious to how much...
Is that me? Keith hates me.
Like, there's like, there are I've been in so many social situations where someone's like proudly declaring their own like social aptitude while just being a deeply irritating person the entire time. Like one of my oldest memories of this is like being at like some kind of high school fundraiser type thing, and like some band set of people were playing on stage for whatever reason, and I barely remember the context of this anymore. And there was this singer that was like one of the students, and like he was honestly good, like, but like the person next to me that was just getting on my nerves throughout this entire thing was some kind of staff member, and she was like, she kept saying stuff like I like them better when he doesn't sing and stuff like that.
What a fucking
and like just all these
bitch.
weird rude lines. And then she started talking about like, kids love me, I'm so great with people, and all this other shit. And I'm like, oh my fucking god, I hate this woman so much. I've just met her during this dinner when I was put at her table, and I've hated her this entire time. And now she's like proudly declaring like. And it's always the people who proudly declare like how incredible like likable they are in any situation and so on, and it's like they like often drift towards like these kinds of fields that are about dealing with people in this way, and I'm like,
Like, okay, so all I know, I don't think people get like, oh, I'm an empath, that makes me great. I think people who are actually empathetic are miserable and are not good at social situations, because in reality what you do is you just sit there and you fucking overthink everything, but you know that you're probably wrong. And so you like, it's like I'll choose my words immensely carefully, and I think a lot about them, but to the point of like it being painstaking to like form sentences, or to the point where it's like if somebody interacts with me, I'm like overthinking what the interaction is like. I think it's a miserable thing to be actually empathetic.
Also, I don't think I've heard anyone more loudly and repeatedly declare themselves an empath than Shane Dawson.
Wow, what a great example.
Like, throughout his fucking trash videos during his weird, like, documentary era where he made horrible videos, but people acted like he was a big deal and cool now or something. Even though, like, he had this long history of just making trash content that was racist and sexist and homophobic, while also just
But
being
people love
bad,
him.
cringe, horrible.
Everyone thinks he's so funny.
It was so weird. It was so weird that he always made bad content for like a decade, and then he was like, suddenly became like a documentarian, but they were bad documentaries.
Yeah, about like conspiracy
they were all
theories
full
and
of
like
lies
9/11 and stuff.
like low effort and trash, and he just made it sound serious, and for some reason people were like clocking in at crazy numbers and so on. And yeah, like all throughout like the fucking like Logan Paul or whatever series, like he would never stop calling himself an empath all the time, and I'm like, it's a weird thing to have to declare this often. I can't help but feel like it accomplishes the opposite of your goal by saying it this often.
In reality, people who are empathetic are just fucking awkward and don't say shit about it because it fucking sucks. It's not even fun. Me and my very good friend we constantly just talk about how like, it's like, oh, well, I thought about, she said this to me, like, what do you think that means? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. Maybe it means this.
Yeah.
And we're just sitting there, like, contemplating every little bit of everything. It's fucking such a curse. It's not even fun. And all I know is, like, if I see someone cry, I'll start crying. And you know how inconvenient that is? It's so lame. I watched The Whale and had to go to school after that, and I cried for, like, an hour. Like, I looked like somebody had beaten me. But I was like, Brendan Fraser cried in the movie, and I saw it, and it made me cry. And it's just the most inconvenient thing of all time. Any people that brag about it like it's a good thing don't fucking know what they're talking about.
But anyway, this tangent brought to you by just the vibe I keep getting when Jenna goes on these like these like clinical dispassionate speeches about what's happening in front of her and so on, and it's like, I promise that this was a timely reference when this was recorded.
Yes.
It's gonna come out in like 2 months or some shit probably, but that dates it immediately. But this was newish at the time.
Well, I'm not on the internet, so
no.
it doesn't.
I have treasured our season of friendship.
It doesn't date anything for me.
What a devastating line to say to someone. Just realize you've been just like hanging out with the fucking serial killer for the last year or whatever.
That other girl's probably just like, bitch, I've been hanging out with you out of pity. I'm surprised you haven't noticed yet. Empath, yeah. I haven't liked you this whole time. This will be really easy for me. Goodbye. Yeah. So, Rich Goat is in great hands then. Nice.
Micah responds tersely, Jenna giving him quite the side-eye. She still seems pretty disgusted with him and Leo for the van revelations. And the further we get away from it, I'm starting to get more and more ill at the thought the camera. Jesus, that is the worst part. Like, why were they filming it? It raises so many concerning questions. Leo had asked me if he ever wanted to film anything before when we were together, but I always said no. I shut my eyes, trying not to think about it. Focus. Just go find Carl.
Bzz.
But does this affect the outcome in any way? At first, Micah starts to approach the closet, but quickly stops as Heather brings up the revolver, pointing at all of us. I've never actually looked down at the barrel of a gun before, and the feeling's pretty petrifying.
Heather, what the fuck are you doing? It's me, Micah. I don't care. You need to go.
She shifts the revolver over, aiming it unsteadily at Micah. We all take a step back, my back now against the wall. Where the hell is Flynn?
Did you shoot your dad? Holy fuck, Heather.
Micah. Leo rumbles in warning.
That's her fucking dad in the closet. I will kill all of you.
A shot rings out and Micah flinches. The weapon is aimed at him. Was aimed at him when it went off. He blinks, shocked, the bat's hands beginning to shake as he checks his torso. He whirls around, spotting a light spray of blood around the bullet hole in the wall. That's when the pain hits him and we see that he is the hole. Heather? We're looking for Carl. Same threat as before. Okay, right on. That's the plan, right guys? Are you fucking kidding me? Leave? I have nowhere to go.
When is Jenna gonna say anything to her?
Keith's being mean to me. It's all hum shit. Duh, stupid. I know that.
Oh my god.
It's horrible and I
hate
it. Let's see. This is all old, I think. The flagging of old versus new is strange.
Yeah. So Jenna's like just literally not even gonna involve herself in this. What are you even talking about? Yes.
I'm gonna make it so there's
no
town.
town.
Right, because Jenna was in this conversation last time, wasn't she?
No,
Or-
well, no, she wasn't, but I thought that would change if you chose her.
Okay, the new gun is that the new gunshot's new, isn't it? Oh, did she get shot?
Yeah, go back.
Daddy?
Daddy!
Glass shatters against my back, showering Carl below. Heather lurches forward, trying to scream, but all that spews forth from her mouth is blood. It pulls through her gritted teeth into a puddle on the floor, Heather failing to gasp for air as fluid fills her lungs. She falls headfirst into the pool of her own fluids, tears still rolling down her face. Micah stands with his head in his hands, a look of shock plastered on his face. Nobody moves. Nobody says anything. Jenna enters the room first, her turquoise eyes fixed on the bloody form laying in the center of the room.
Oh, so she wasn't even in the room.
No. Because originally it was Flynn, TJ, and Jenna were like sneaking around.
Oh, yeah.
Quietly. Flynn is right behind her, looking initially rather gormless, though his eyes start to widen as he realizes what he's done. Oh.
Good shot, Flynn. Everyone alright? Oh, she's not phased.
Jeez.
Cold.
I catch my breath against the wall, looking up only to see the slumped form still staring ahead at the closet. Quietly, I close the closet door. Yeah, I guess. Jenna looks over to Micah, spying the bullet hole in his wing. Her complexion darkens, and soon she is standing over Heather's body. The feline's eyes are still wide open, glassy with the sort of eternal shock. Jenna promptly delivers a swift kick to her head.
Oh, shit.
Heather's neck now turned at a stiff angle.
Bitch. Oh my god, Jenna.
Oh. Oh, Jenna's a lot. Okay. Flynn rests his palms on his knees, exuding a dry retch. Leo steps over, trying to inspect Micah's wound.
Flynn, guys,
Jenna's attention shifts to the ram on the floor.
Carl, you can get up. It's safe now. We're free? Yes. And that makes 2 of these bastards who have tried to hurt us that we've put down.
Flynn stops coughing up air long enough to gape at Jenna. That we put down? Flynn points to Heather. I killed her. I'm the one who pulled the trigger. Flynn's voice is strange, way more higher pitched than I'm used to.
Right after I told you to.
Yeah, I listened to you, and now someone is fucking dead. Flynn covers his mouth, muttering quiet expletives.
You saved everyone. Carl is okay, all thanks to you.
TJ lingers in the doorway, half hidden behind it. Heather.
She was leaving. We were all fine.
Flynn sits in the corner, clutching his repeater with a grip so tight I figure the barrel will bend any second. Fuck! Don't say that. Don't fucking say that. I've never seen Flynn like this. I figured he'd be the sort to take something like this as a necessity of the situation, but he's visibly shaking.
Flynn, no one is going to prosecute you. She killed her dad and then shot Micah. You stopped her, saved your friends, saved Carl with a single shot.
Yep, this is where Jenna feels like an alien, like in the the therapist in the video, where you're like, yeah, it's not anyone's point, Jenna. We're not talking about being prosecuted.
Someone being involved in a situation like this so closely and reacting this way is very robotic.
This is, yeah.
Because at the very least, if you make the executive decision to shoot someone, even like the best faith that it's going to be the best for everyone, you're still going to be really fucked up after it. You're going to be like, oh damn. Like,
it's not good, yeah. It's up there with her weird clinical explanation she had about her own jealousy at the end and the good route.
Yeah.
In general, even in the good route, she comes off really, really poorly by the end, where you're like, wow, so you were dating Chase just to fuck with Leo specifically. So you were always being antagonist this whole time, and your entire relationship with Chase was on some level insincere, and he would be repeating mistakes he's made before by pursuing it after the credits roll. Like,
well, I got the impression, like, at first I thought it was gonna be a cheeky joke. I thought she was gonna be like, oh, haha, like, you know, like, oh yeah, no, that was just the hum,
that was
or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, she didn't go back on that at all. She was like, no, that was true. And she seems like she really doesn't care about him either way, and they kind of try to salvage it by being like, oh, she's like a femme fatale. And I'm like, kind of like a bitch. Like, I wouldn't try to pursue her after she talked to me that way.
Yeah, femme fatales specifically use their sexuality and their ways to manipulate the protagonist.
It's a fatale because your life is ruined.
Like, it is not. It is not a happy ending for the noir detective to end up in a relationship with the femme fatale, because that's not what they're there for. That's not what their goal is. What they're doing.
I mean, it sounds cool and everything, but
it's insincere.
If you want to feel bad about this, that's your prerogative.
Wow, I've treasured our season of friendship.
I'm just stating the facts.
Leo says nothing as he looks over Micah's wound, the bat himself visibly fuming.
You told him to shoot, even after she picked up her shit and was heading towards the fucking door? You killed my goddamn friend! That was not remotely apparent. The angle. Fuck you, you piece of shit. Just like Jeremy said, you act like you know everything, and then when shit fucks up, you blame everyone else.
Seeing Jenna increasingly backed into a corner, I decided to speak up. I don't think that's exactly fair.
Rot, bitch. That's pretty cool.
Micah's pretty good.
What a cool thing just...
Micah seethes in my direction. Meanwhile, Leo mutters to him, seemingly trying to get him to calm down.
Oh, is that where the moral high ground is? Where you're standing? You and your friends tried to break into Carl's house and tipped off his future kidnappers when he tried to flee from you. You are the entire reason we are here, Micah. And you still defend them, even now after seeing what they're capable of. That's absolutely unacceptable. Unacceptable. Who the fuck describes being pissed that your friend got murdered as unacceptable?
Jenna, it's a little more complicated than that.
See, even Leo's more right.
Let's just get Carl and hightail it out of Echo, yeah? Leo looks to me as if quietly asking for me to back him up on this.
And what Heather's capable of? Finally finding the strength to stop her fucking skeeve of a dad? True monster, that.
Jenna ignores Micah, her attention now on Leo.
Oh, is this complicated for you? I'm so sorry, Leo.
Jesus Christ.
I know your sense of right and wrong can be a little addled sometimes. You know, with you running around beating up people, sexually assaulting Chase in the mall, and fucking and filming a child. Bullshit!
What? TJ's looking
Oh no, TJ!
TJ already had to witness the death of his ex-girlfriend.
Oh gosh, poor
Remember
TJ.
that relationship, too. TJ's looking bleary-eyed and baffled in the doorway. Leo's jowls part, the wolf restraining a snarl as he releases his grip on Micah. His red eyes glare down at Jenna, and it's an absolutely menacing image in his blood-soaked room. Come on, Carl. Let's get you up. I'll grab some snacks and bandages and we can get you all sorted on the way back to Peyton, yeah? You too, Swiss cheese. He pats Micah's shoulder, the bat's nostrils flared. The group exits quietly, Flynn still quietly shaking his head. Jenna has her back turned to me now, facing Heather's corpse. I reach out to her, speaking quietly now that we're the only ones in here. Jenna, they're just worked up. It's this hum business, making people say all the wrong things, right?
Yeah, like you.
Why don't we...
Get out.
Her voice is curt and strange, words almost gurgled out through frustration and rage. Next thing I know, she's got her paw on my chest, pushing me out the door and slamming it behind me. I press my forehead against the window, watching my breath fog up the glass. Carl's straddling the middle seat with Flynn driving, and they seem to be doing a good job of calming each other down. Aw.
No.
Everyone else is in the truck bed in the back.
So Carl's in the front now.
Yeah. Everyone except Jenna. She'd left without so much as a goodbye, insisting that she would take Heather's dad's car. I tried to stop her, but she wouldn't listen. She kept claiming she had to do something.
Wonder what that is.
On our way out of town, we'd passed a couple burning houses, even heard a gunshot or two. It all makes me pretty damn glad this nightmare is almost over. Yet, we've been driving for nearly half an hour, and still haven't reached the interstate. Usually Flint Road doesn't take that long to get through. Even Flynn is starting to get a little worried, checking for landmarks in the dark to make sure he hasn't missed a turn. I can still see the town in the distance, echo a glimmer of lights and smoke. 5 more minutes pass, but we eventually reach the interstate, emerging seemingly out of nowhere. We escaped the weird loop. Streams of ambulances and police cars begin to pool in the opposite lane, all heading into town. I think that's what they mean when they said in the other route that there was some kind of traffic problem. I think they just don't know how else to explain the fact that they probably were on like the infinite highway.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't reach Echo somehow.
I was thinking that too, but I wasn't,
I also think Jenna's gonna destroy the town.
Yeah.
Because this is the route where you, instead of choosing, we kept each other sane. It's this town breaks people, and it's all about a more cynical read on the existence of this town.
Well, you remember at the end of the good playthrough we did, she makes a comment asking me, like, being like, "Oh, I wonder if I made the right decision," because, like this whole damage is cyclical, and so basically, if people don't live in the town, it wouldn't be happening again. Yeah. So I think that she's manifesting that thought into just ending it now.
Yeah, the way the different routes reference the other timeline potentially, and like how like she specifically is having doubts of whether or not it was worth saving the city. And now she shot Heather, so whoop. Yeah, streams of ambulances and police cars begin to pool in the opposite lane, all heading into town. I glance out the back window for one final look at Echo when I notice something amiss. The lake. It's bigger. Way bigger. The shore was all the way up to the highway, with trailers and small vehicles peeking out of the tide. The others see it too. It's then that I remember something. When Jenna was leaving, there was something she was holding on to. A slightly bloody folder and booklet she tucked away into the Reclamation Bureau vehicle before heading off. I suppose you won't be coming back after all. Oh. Fuck. Excellently put, kid. Yeah, that's what happened. And I guess the destruction of the town, like the moment she sealed its fate, I guess was probably the moment when the highway let go. Because we were apparently stuck in the loop, which we understand better from Leo's route. But
yes.
They specifically said, like, we should be somewhere by now. Like, what's going on? Oh, right.
Dark Jenna.
Dark Jenna. Because they take a CG from earlier in the game and blur it up. Well. Dick move.
Very dick move.
Also in the right, in many ways. It's just, you should evacuate the town and then drown it. There's people in it right now is the problem. I mean, R.I.P. Flynn's aunt. And any other characters we know. Raven is dead. Kudzu's dead. Presumably 2 future guest characters are dead that we haven't met yet. Clint is dead. Jeremy, her brother, is dead. Like, she just killed everyone that didn't escape Echo, and it's impossible to escape Echo outside of the exact way we did.
The lake is bigger now.
What a description. That was really good.
I wonder, like, to what extent is it underwater? I wanted more of a description of, like, I mean, is it just the ones that were close to the shore, or is it going to be...
it's like a reverse Berryessa.
Reverse Berryessa.
The places like Lake Berryessa, like, used to have, like, a town in it, and then they just, like, they put up a dam and just drowned it, and now it's just, like, a weirdly shaped... That's why the lake is shaped so strangely, is because it's not natural at all.
And then there's houses under there?
Yeah. There's just a bunch of areas throughout the country where there's just towns that have been wiped out completely.
I mean, like I said, I kind of understand the point of just destroying the town. But yeah, no, really shitty to everyone who's there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, what are you gonna do? Tell them all they're gonna fucking fight you?
It definitely feels like the thing that works. Not going in circles now. Kind of hard to do that.
I like how the voice in your head even knows. They're just like, okay, goodbye. Like, not gonna see you anymore.
Yep. Well put, kid.
But how y'all leaving? Can you leave now? Are you stuck here? We're on the highway. We're up above, right? So we should be able to get out.
Like, what's going... Oh, we're already on the interstate.
Yeah, so we're like long gone.
We're all the way to where the emergency vehicles were coming from.
And I guess we just never see Jenna ever again. Like, probably not. I mean, she's gonna go back to school.
She's probably safe.
Yeah, she's probably safe, but like...
But yeah,
awkward.
Depends on whether or not she gets caught or we tell people about what she did and what consequences she faces there. But yeah, she's the one person in Echo that isn't in danger from what she did, I think. She just has to get back out. Well, Jenna, look what you're capable of.
Shit.
Yeah, they totally did directly reference the screen with that one when they had everyone sit around the truck.
100%.
Well, that was the other ending of Jenna. I had some bad vibes already, but they got a lot worse.
Yeah, dude. She was
Jesus
just like...
Christ.
It's like, Heather's dead. And she's like, good.
Flynn has a rough time. Like, Flynn is the worst character in the intro and in Carl's route. And then everything since, you're just like, oh no, Flynn.
I know, like, Flynn's really come through a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And in this one, he is, like, coerced into killing a person and does actually feel bad about it.
And they don't even care she doesn't even care about his feelings. If you're gonna feel bad, that's your prerogative. I'm like,
dude, you just killed someone. Like I said, even in like a situation where it's perfectly justified, it would be very difficult to not at least feel a little bit fucked up about ending a person's life, you know?
And then immediately, like, because Micah always does, Micah says the worst thing, which is that she was about to leave. She's like, don't fucking say that.
Oh.
Well, next up, some of the weird side story, short story things that I think were just kind of released on Patreon in parallel with the game periodically, and Toaster went through them and was like, here's where they reasonably fit, I guess. And so we're going to try to work some of those in instead of doing them all at the end, because they don't really organically mix in.
Hopefully there's some like lighthearted slice of life stuff after.
Wacky misadventures in Echo.
They go
Tee-hee.
shopping. They go, to a restaurant. The gang goes on a picnic, like, some bullshit like that. And not some more town drowning.
The most relaxing chapter of all of Echo so far still involves Chase bleeding in the bathroom from TJ obliterating him.
Oh, when we're at the theme park?
It's just not that kind of story.
Yeah, no.